Now you can hear me. Knicks family, what's popping, man? And look, I know it looks a little bit different right now with the way that I have everything set up and all that kind of stuff. You know, I just popped right up on the screen. You used to having a little something going on in the intro beforehand, but couldn't do it that way this time because somebody took my internet out. You know, I got some people out of my house working on some wires under the ground, and they accidentally cut my internet wire. So I'm jumping on from my mobile hotspot. So it is what it is, man. We're doing the best that we can right now. All right. We will be able to take phone calls. We're still going to have a video chat. So we're going to do what we can do. But listen, man, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the Knicks blowing a 17-point lead to the Philadelphia 76ers. Yes, you heard it correctly. The Knicks had a 17-point lead tonight over the Philadelphia 76ers, and they blew the lead. They could not hold on to the lead. Ah, boy. What are we going to do about this team, man? I don't know. So many times these guys are able to hang and play tough with good teams, and they can't get over the hump. They can't get over the hump, man. Boy, the New York Knicks tonight, they lost to the Philadelphia 76ers. They had a 17-point lead. They weren't able to hold on to the lead. And they played well for the most part. We will get a chance to break down and look at the stats and all that good stuff, you know, and talk about what the Knicks did right, what the Knicks did wrong, and what we could have done to win this game. Because the game was very winnable. And I hope, I don't know. Does it give you confidence? That's what I want to know. Does this game give you confidence that the Knicks can win during this tough stretch? Because they have a tough stretch coming up. And Philadelphia, this game was just the beginning of the stretch. It was just the beginning. All right, next to San Antonio, then you got the Brooklyn Nets. Both of those games are very, very winnable, ladies and gentlemen. Both of them are. But we had one right here. We had one tonight that we could have pulled out. We didn't get it. We didn't get the job done. Let's get to the video chat. And I'm going to give a chance. I don't have the lines open yet. All right. But I will have the telephone lines open for you to call in. But I want to get some initial reactions from the guys that we have in the video chat. And then I'll do a quick recap of the game. And then after I recap the game, we'll get to a couple of phone calls. All right? So let's start with the guys that's in the video chat. Right now I got Nate. I got Mark in the video chat. We're going to see what these guys think. Nate, I'm coming to you right now, my brother, since you're in the chat. Hold on 1 second. Okay, Nate, tell me what you saw, man.
I mean, I saw a team that fought hard. I mean, they played great defense for 3 quarters. You know, probably 3/4 or 2 and 50 minutes. I thought the last couple of minutes were just I thought the last couple of minutes were like typical Knicks, you know, basketball, not moving the ball, not getting back on defense, giving up wide open threes. But you know what? It really all started when they took Frank out of the game, you know, and this is the part I don't understand. I mean, I understand players got to get their rest, but when Frank is playing that good and he's that hot, you can't pull him from the game. You know, I mean, as soon as they pulled him from the game, I mean, DSJ was getting eaten up, you know, and the team just was not running their offense. And when you have a lead like that, you got to run your dogs until you can't anymore. I mean, that's my philosophy. You got to put your foot on the throat and keep going.
Okay, but let's be fair. Dennis Smith Jr. But let's be fair, though. Up until that point, Dennis Smith Jr. was playing well also. Right? He was playing well.
But, I
he
mean,
was playing
he's
well. So
he's a different type of point.
I know, but Fizdale couldn't predict that when he took Frank out, they were going to lose a 17-point lead, and maybe it was a 15-point lead when Frank came out. He couldn't predict that was going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and I
no,
think, Dennis Smith Jr. had been playing well up until that point. He'd been playing well.
And that's true.
Those guys got to come in and play, man.
No, I agree. And I'm not letting the players off the hook. But what I'm going to say is, as a coach, if we give up that lead by the end of the third quarter, Ntilikina's back in the lineup starting the fourth. I mean, you got to play your best players when the game is when you got a lead. And I think that Fizdale, rested on his laurels and then put Frank in when they tied the game. And when you got a team that's that good and you're beating them, you gotta put, like I said, you gotta put your foot on their throat and go for the kill. And they didn't do that. They let them back in the game, and then when they tied the game up, they're not good enough to win a game that close because they're gonna make mistakes. I mean, you saw Randall's stupid screen play, whatever he did. I don't know what he was doing there. I mean, Morris, and he's trying on that fast break. He did get fouled, but he could have, slowed that down, and they ran something. But it just, we're not good enough to win those close games against those good enough team against those teams. And we had to take the lead and run with it, and we didn't do that, and that's why we lost the game. I honestly believe if we would have started in the fourth with Frank and had we would have kept the lead, and who knows what would have happened. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I mean, we could say a lot of things, but I just think that if your player's that hot and playing that well, you got to keep playing them.
I mean, he had 16 points. He was playing well, and he played well in the third quarter.
It wasn't just making shots, Sim. He was running the offense.
I get that.
He was looking like a point guard.
I get that, but he's not gonna play the entire every single second of the game. You know what I'm saying? And when
Why
you have
not? Barrett plays all those minutes, or he was playing all those minutes.
He was. He's not now. But when you have a 15 point lead, that is the time when you can say, okay, right? They got some subs coming in. We're gonna bring in some subs. They should be able to hold the lead until our guys get back in. I mean,
but our bench isn't that good enough to keep those
because let's put it like this.
That's what I'm saying. You got to have your best players out there.
Right, but check it out. You could, if he would have kept Frank in and they would have came back anyway, right? We can sit here and say, oh, it wouldn't have happened, but we don't know. And they would have came back anyway, and then Frank down the stretch of the game, people would have said, well, why didn't he give him a break? Because now Frank was tired come down to the end of the fourth quarter. I mean, it could go anyway. Your bench players, the bench has been able to play well. They got to be able to step up and play well sometimes, man. And they have played well, right? The bench has been a strong point for us for the most part. And it's not like the bench had played terrible this game. The bench had played well. Dennis Smith Jr. had played well. The bench played well. So at that point in the game, you put him in, you're like, okay, the bench played well. Maybe they can come in with some energy and try to extend the lead. Didn't happen. And to his credit, he did bring Frank back in earlier than expected. I think maybe it was 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter when he brought Frank back into the game. I mean, the bench got to be able to step up and play some basketball too. You know what I mean? You can't expect that. The stuff. I mean, the bench got to be able to. They got to be able to hold that lead. And the lead. And to be honest with you, the lead didn't just dissipate when the bench came in. The lead had started to dissipate before the bench came in. It was a 17-point lead. And I think before the bench came in, it got, they had shaved it down to a 13-point lead. So they started going on that run before the bench even came into the game. There's a lot we can say. There's a lot we can, not say about the game. I don't know, man. I hate it. 17-point lead. We couldn't and we couldn't win the game. You know, that's obviously it's on the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Because we should have been able to win that game. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, there's not going to be many highlights or interviews and stuff like that because, I don't have super duper fast internet. So we're doing with what we can. All right, we're doing with what we can. We're not going to be able to have all that kind of stuff tonight. I'm lucky that I'm able to have these guys talk. Andrew, I'm about to come to you, man. Talk to me, my brother.
Oh, you hear me, Sim?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on with you, my man?
Hey, thanks, brother. Thanks for having me on. My takeaway from the Knicks game with the lead, I blame the refs. I think to help Philly get back into that lead, man. A lot of those missed calls they called on the Knicks end, that to me helped, it killed their momentum. And it helped Philly get back in the game. And, that also a person I have a problem defensively is Kevin Knox, man. He had a terrible defensive game, man. And I think that's what squandered the lead. Dennis Smith didn't really play bad. It's just when he's on the court, he's not really orchestrating the offense. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's looking more to score. He's not really, he's not really setting things up. I think that's what happened when Frank got him. Frank got out. You seen he could orchestrate. That's what helped him get into that lead. And I think also what Nate said, they pulled Frank too quick. I'd have kept him in there. You understand what I'm saying? I understand you need to get Dennis Smith some minutes. But the guy was hot. You know what I'm saying? That was like offensively one of the best I've ever seen him play. The guy hit like 2 or 3 shots in a row and let him keep going. And they just didn't do that. You know what I mean? I think they should have just. It's not about okay, you have a big lead. You got to step on some of these guys' neck, man. And the Knicks didn't do that today. I think that's what gave up the.
I get it. I'm not. I don't know. I just can't blame it on just the fact that Frank came out the game. I just can't blame it on that. The Knicks as a whole, as an entire team, because even with Frank in the game, the 76ers began to go on a run. They started going on a run. It was a 17-point lead. It went down to 13. I can't just blame it on that. I just can't blame it on just that. On just Frank coming out the game.
But what I'm saying is also the officials. The officials ruined. It was some missed calls that they missed. I remember when Dotson went to the basket, and even just look at the free throw. Like look at the discrepancy. Like you know what I'm saying? That's what really ruined it. Look at they blew hard against the Knicks for one, and then for two, also is when Todd Gibson came out the game because he helped them get the lead due to the simple fact when they brought in Mitchell Robinson. I understand they needed defense, but at the same time, when Mitchell Robinson's in the game, if you give him the ball 15, 17 feet out, the person who's guarding him clogs the paint. So the Knicks they really can't. It's harder for them to get to the basket. It makes the offense stagnant. I think you have to play Mitchell Robinson in spurts. Now, they did have a good moment when they was running the pick and roll with Morris and Robinson. They was throwing lobs, but they went away from that. So if y'all not doing that, why is he on the floor? You understand what I'm saying? Like I don't care about the defense. He leaves his feet too easy. And also, Kevin Knox had a terrible defensive game, man. He looked lost out there, man. He really did, man. He looked lost, and that's the reason being. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of these factors that go into it. And I think Fizz is playing RJ too many minutes, man. I think he got to cut down RJ minutes.
How many minutes did RJ play?
And he got to get back. I don't know how many minutes he played tonight, but I think he has to get Dotson more of a burn, in my opinion.
Dotson is playing really well. I am unable to bring up those stats at the moment, so I'm not able to look at those stats.
Okay.
But, yeah, I'm on because of the internet situation, so I'm unable to bring those stats up. But I'm interested to see how many minutes RJ Barrett played tonight, how many minutes Damian Dotson played tonight, how many minutes Frank Ntilikina played tonight. And I do wonder, with Todd Gibson.
He's bad.
Say that again.
Knox is playing bad.
Yeah. Knox is out of it right now. He's not playing well at all.
Now I know
I'm losing you, my man. I'm losing you. Let me get to Guillermo. Guillermo?
Yo, what's good, Sam?
What's going on, man?
First and foremost, hopefully you're doing better, man. 6, so hopefully we can but tonight, man, tough, man, because there were so many positives I saw tonight, man. So many different negatives down the stretch. I'm gonna get to the positives first. First and foremost, I know people think I'm gonna mention Frank. I thought Frank had a really good game, but our defensive, our savior almost on defense is Taj Gibson. This guy was communicating when guys were lazing back on defense on a dead ball. He was screaming for them to get back. He had guys in position. And what I said that you got to double team Embiid, puts the ball on the floor in the paint. You got to give Simmons breathing space. And we executed it well, man. When we went on that little run, we were doing that to a T, and we forced those guys to become perimeter players, man. Like it was beautiful, man. But again, then get to the bad fundamentals. You know what I mean? Like Mitchell Robinson. This guy's jumping for head fakes at the 3-point line when Embiid was out there, and Embiid couldn't hit a three. Whenever you can force Embiid to be on an off line from the, it's not a great perimeter shooter, he can do it. Whenever you can force him to do that, take it, keep taking it. Force him and Simmons to become shooters. You know who Mike Scott is. You know who Tobias Harris is. Make those guys. Make those guys try to dribble and beat Jordan. You know what I mean? Let Embiid and those guys stand up. And Mitchell Robinson comes in, gives up a foul, goes for the head fakes, and allows Simmons and Embiid to have a two-man game. And then again, in terms of fundamentals, in terms of offensive sets, we got into trouble because literally we only have activity on one side of the ball. Like I said, when we were doing the little dribble handoffs and stuff in the second half to the left, and guys were getting bogged down, Taj got the ball stolen from Dotson, couldn't make plays. They're trying to drive and force things on that one side. That exposes your offense. When you have the quick passing and getting it to guys all around the court, I know we don't do enough off ball, but at least when it's moving, we can get the passes quick. That helps us. That allows us to at least create some advantage against the defense. I think we ran away with that. We try to do too much ISO ball. You know what I mean? And Randall is he's so annoying because, on the last foul or whatever, that crucial foul of the game, we're down by 5. That's the only time you want to show some power on a pick. You want to show some energy on a pick. You know what I mean? It's the team needs to learn situational awareness, man. We have very, very little situational awareness. Very situational, contextual basketball. You know what I mean? You have those two guys, like I said, Embiid and Simmons. Let them try to beat you from the 3. You know what I mean? Don't play them up top. Let them beat you from the 3. Mike Scott, he's a gunner. Can't let him kill you from the perimeter. You know what I mean? Our perimeter defense fell apart. And, I want to get on Fizzo because Fizzo, look, you're the guys who's making the substitute. Supposed to be reiterating to guys. It shouldn't take Taj Gibson to basically be the only guy telling guys to get into position on defense. You got to reiterate to them. Mitch, stay on your feet. You know what Embiid could do. You know what I mean? You know what Simmons can do. Simmons if you give him space, he's gonna dribble around a foul shot and then try to reset and then pass it off. You know what his game is. You know what I mean? So yeah, I want to get on Fizzo and say, fire Fizzo. But again, look, it's on Fizzo players. They got to do a better job. Knox, again, situational awareness. His defense is piss poor. Some of these guys need to start sitting, man. Randall, I know he's your big ticket item, but he's not a big ticket item right now. He made some shots, whatever, but again, situational awareness. He doesn't get it. He had that one awful play where he tried to spin move. He sort of double team coming. Instead of passing it out, he tried to spin into the baseline and then try to pass it to the
and
guy
then he
all
threw
the way
it
on the 3-point
right
on the other side, and it was out
that was
of bounds.
terrible.
And it's just not that's not, what I mean? Stuff like that. Again, Fizzo. What did Fizzo say? Fizzo said that he's gonna sit you down if you make stupid decisions. If you do things with that are just dumb or whatever. Like if it's effort, whatever, you're trying to show off, but you make a mistake, he's not gonna sit you. But if it's stupid things, stuff like that, Randall needs to sit. You know what I mean? Guys like that, they said, like what Andrew said, man. When Frank was hot, you got to keep him in there because how many games you're gonna get where Frank is at half. You have to fully build his confidence, and I would have kept him in there because look, if you're gonna sit down guys like Taj, whatever, for the fourth quarter, play guys like Frank. Maybe keep scoring and keep giving him space, and then when they try to play him up top, then that opens up for everybody else. But again, tonight it's tough. I know what you said. Can we beat other teams? Again, 2 games in a row where it's like if we bring, or 3 games in a row on the Hornets game, it's like we if you could just take cuts of quarters and just extrapolate that out for the whole game, we could beat a lot of these teams. You know what I mean? So again, this is a game that we can't let down. Yes, the Philly beat us overall. They have better talent than us. We could have won. If we won this, we would have stole this game. So I guess we weren't supposed to win, but it is what it is. Fundamentals are the biggest thing, Sim. We got to work on fundamentals, contextual awareness. You know what I mean? And this is my last thing. I just remember 2013-14 when the Spurs played the Heat, and the Spurs literally stayed away from LeBron on the perimeter like he was a disease. And it was like you saw Popovich screaming at, you saw other players screaming at. It can't just be Taj. Everybody has to be geared in on defense on this team. Everybody has to be screaming, communicating. The fouls at this point with certain players when you know what they want to do, you know their bread and butter. You know what I mean? That kid, Graham, that killed us the other night, fine, he's the new kid. We don't really know about him. Scout reports, whatever. But you know what Embiid and Simmons could do. Simmons hasn't really improved since he came into the league. You know what I mean? Embiid is what he is. Play them to their weakness. We could have won, but, it is what it is. But players just got to be better contextually.
Nah, I feel you. I know there's a lot of things that we could have done. And it's always going to be that way, that there's a lot of things that we could have done, in different ways that we could have played better. The bottom line, we did not do that. We did not get those things done. I want to give a big shout out to L. Marshall. Thank you for the super chat. He said Mitch in foul trouble, not being in the game hurts. Fizz running the offense through forwards too much.
Not really.
I can hear you. I can. Yeah, no. Well, I'm just no. What I'm saying, I was just reading off a super chat. But with Taj Gibson, yes, I believe we did very well with Taj Gibson in the game. We didn't play Taj Gibson as much tonight as I thought we could have. I mean, you seen Taj Gibson really playing very well and taking advantage of Joel Embiid in some cases. He was playing good defense. Fizz didn't keep him out there. But, I don't know, man. Because up until that point, when we built that lead, our bench had played well. And through the game. And that lead, I kind of feel like the momentum of that lead was already changing before the bench players even came in. As a matter of fact, I feel like he started to bring in subs because he felt the momentum of the game changing. Now, they weren't able to, the bench was not able to change it and get it back in the Knicks' favor. I don't know. I don't know. It's tough, man. It's a tough one to swallow for me because we had the game. We could have won the game. We should have won the game. And we weren't. It's a game. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking to myself when we're up 17, I'm like, wow, we win this. That means we've won 3 of the last 4 games. And we could have been on a 4-game win streak, if we won this game, if it wasn't for that last second shot by the Charlotte Hornets. And that's what I'm thinking to myself when we're up 17. What I'm afraid of is that the Knicks were thinking the same thing. Right? They were thinking the same thing. Wow, we win this one. And, we went on a, we would have won 3 of the last 4 games, blah, 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 blah. But here we go. This is, I got some stats up now that I can look at. All right? Marcus Morris played 40 minutes. I was a little bit upset with Marcus Morris down the stretch. I thought he started playing hero ball down the stretch. Especially on that fast break at the end of the game. Not at the end of the game. In the fourth quarter, the Knicks had a chance to go back up 1. And it was maybe 3-on-1? 3-on-2? Something like that. I think maybe it was 3-on-2. And maybe he did get fouled. I don't know. But he went to the basket, where he could have found somebody who was open for a better shot, and he took it. And then maybe the possession after that, when the Knicks had possession after that, he decided to go one-on-one in the paint. And I felt like, Marcus Morris, maybe because he had family in town. I don't know. Marcus Morris does it anyway. Maybe because he had family in town and stuff like that. He was maybe pushing a little bit too much. But I didn't like the way Marcus Morris played down the stretch. Julius Randle, for as well as he played in Cleveland, I seen him go back to making some of the same mistakes like Guillermo just talked about with, him in the post. Joel Embiid coming to double team. He decides to go baseline and try to flip it under the baseline to Frank Ntilikina, and the ball goes out of bounds. Uncontrollable. Frank Ntilikina couldn't catch the ball. Plays like that. Now, also, whoever was guarding Joel Embiid's got to cut to the basket. You see Joel Embiid going to double team, you gotta slide to the basket and hope that Julius Randle can find you. It's easier said than done because Joel Embiid is a big guy. So you might not be able to see that cutter coming down the lane. Anyway, Marcus Morris, he played 40 minutes. He had 22 points. He also had 13 rebounds and 6 assists. But he shot 38% from the field, 57% from three. Knicks shot well from three overall. Julius Randle, he played 35 minutes. He had 17 points, shot 38.5% from the field, 50% from three, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Taj Gibson, he only played 13 minutes, and it's just surprising because his 13 minutes were good. He should have played more minutes. He had 11 points. He was 5 or 6 from the field. Taj Gibson also had 4 rebounds. R.J. Barrett played 35 minutes. He had 8 points, only shot 33% from the field. He had 7 rebounds, 3 assists, also had 4 turnovers. Frank Ntilikina played really good tonight. He played 32 minutes. He had 17 points. He was 6 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. It was 3 for 4 from the free throw line. He had 1 rebound, 0 assists, 1 turnover. He also had 1 block. Then Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson played 13 minutes. He was in foul trouble. He had 4 points. He only had 2 rebounds on the night. He also had 3 blocks, though. Dennis Smith Jr. played 15 minutes. He had 13 points. Dennis Smith Jr. was 5 for 9 from the field. He was 2 for 3 from 3. Dennis Smith Jr. also had 2 assists. He also had 2 turnovers. Kevin Knox only played 10 minutes, 3 points. Damian Dotson played 19 minutes. He had 2 points. He was 1 for 6 from the field. He also had 3 rebounds. It's hard to say, ladies and gentlemen. I understand, what people are saying about Frank Ntilikina coming out the game. But when you look at it, the person who comes in for him really only played 15 minutes. Frank Ntilikina played the majority of those minutes at that point guard spot. There's 48 minutes in the game. He played 32 of those 48 minutes. I don't know who played the other 1 minute, but Dennis Smith Jr. played 15 of those 48 minutes. When the bench came in, Coach Fizdale took Dennis Smith Jr. out the game early in that fourth quarter. He took him out with about 9 minutes left. I'm just not ready to blame the entire game on that one move. I think that Philadelphia was already on a run. They were already on a run. The momentum was already shifting. He made some subs to try to stop that momentum shift, and the ball was already rolling. We couldn't stop it. Evergreen, coming to you, man. What's going on, bro? How you feeling?
What's going on, man? Listen, I am not going to be the negative Nancy.
All right.
And I'm saying that specifically because, I live out here in South Jersey. Everybody out here are Philly fans. So I'm watching the game on the local channel. Even the commentators there at their post-game line was like, listen, this Knicks team is not the same bad Knicks team from last year, and they are also not the same bad Knicks team the very, very first few of the season. This Knicks team just put the entire league on notice. If you are not a three-point shooting team, if you're a team that gets the majority of your buckets from the paint, the Knicks are going to be a problem for you. They're going to be a problem for you with our size, with our defensive tenacity. It just so happens that you have one guy that is a center who just so happens to have the ability to spread the floor in Joel Embiid. He kind of killed us with that last three-point jumper that kind of sealed the deal. Yeah. I will agree with you and say that the momentum shift started to change. R.J. Barrett got hacked on that layup attempt, and there was no call.
Yes, I agree.
The foul calls on our end just kept coming. So on top of us not getting the foul calls that we should deserve, we also were getting silly calls that really weren't warranted, in my opinion. So when you add that, it's like the perfect basketball economic storm of how you can fail, right? You got bad calls, you got us not getting calls, and then the very end of Marcus Morris not kicking that ball off to the with Frank and hopefully he can hit that 3 because he was the hot hand. The DSJ being pulled out slightly early. RJ Barrett looks like he had 4 turnovers. Hell, I would even go so far as to say Bobby Portis probably did a minute because he shot 50%. The only other 2 players to shoot over 50% were Frank and Taj. So it's like the league right now, again, if you are a paint playing team, if you play from 14 feet and under, we have the ability to be a big problem for you. It just so happens a few shots here and there with Scott and Embiid is kind of what sealed the game, and what blew the game was Marcus Morris's last 2, which I'm not even mad at him making those decisions because he's been the one that's been as clutch as possible, or at least making the best decisions with the ball in his hands at the end of the stretch. So for everyone that is losing their minds and getting upset at the way the Knicks played, understand, we got 24 fouls, right? Let me make sure I'm getting this right. I want to say we got 24 fouls to the Phillies 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a 12-point difference, right? That's a 13-point difference. Like that makes a huge difference in that game, right? They won that game off of foul shots. Like if you stare at this box office score, they won that game off of free throws. Period. Right? It was a very slow, it wasn't a fast-paced moving game, and I'm cool with the ball not being swung because we had some weird offensive mismatches that could have been exploited if we played properly. I'm cool with banging in the paint if we know we don't have much shooter. But again, I think this game was really decided by the refs. I don't think there were really much big defensive plays that we leaked on and a lot of offensive plays that we played crappy on. This game was decided by the refs, as well as a couple other small things that Marcus Morris did right, but just didn't work out in our favor. So I'm not going to be a negative man.
Okay.
We played a damn good game, and I'm looking forward to the next game. Who we got? San Antonio next, right?
Play San Antonio next. San Antonio.
Yeah,
I think that's a winnable
San
game.
Antonio team. Maybe we can redeem ourselves on that one. Frank, obviously, everybody knows Frank had an amazing game. Did he get pulled out too early? That's questionable. But I actually think that our biggest issue is somebody needs to teach Kevin Knox. And this is the third game that I've watched that Kevin Knox has done this. This guy, like, from my understanding on defense, like, I'm not an NBA player, but I know from playing basic ball, you don't give up the baseline. Like, you just don't do that. If you're playing D on the wing, you don't give the baseline up and allow that man to drive baseline. You allow him to drive into the paint and allow him to be crushed in by your other players that you got defensively in the paint. Why is Frank for the last 3-4 games, Kevin Knox, for the last 3 or 4 games, Kevin Knox consistently lets his man drive baseline.
Yeah.
This has got to stop.
He does.
I'm going so far to say Kevin Knox needs to bench. Yes, he's shooting pretty decent well, but Kevin Knox needs to bench, and Reggie Bullock needs to hurry up and come back, or we need to pull Iggy back out. One or the other.
Yeah. Now, Kevin Knox, to be fair, Kevin Knox only played 10 minutes tonight, mainly because his defense is lacking so much. His defense is lacking so much. Kevin Knox only played 10 minutes tonight. The Knicks, just to read off some numbers for you, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks had 42 rebounds tonight to the 76ers 44. The Knicks had 7 offensive rebounds. The 76ers had 10 offensive rebounds. The Knicks had 35 defensive rebounds. Only 17 assists tonight for the Knicks. The Knicks only averaged 20 assists on the season. They only had 17 tonight. The Philadelphia 76ers had 30 assists on the night. 30 assists. And the Knicks still built a 17-point lead with that 30 assists, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks had 8 steals, 6 blocks, 14 turnovers on the night. We started, we had some turnovers in that third quarter when the Philadelphia 76ers were going on a run. Yet still, the Knicks outscored the 76ers 28-21 in that third quarter. Right? So even though we had a 17-point lead in that third quarter, right? We ended the third quarter. We went into the fourth quarter with a 5-point lead. Now, maybe I can hear what Nate's saying. I can hear what other people saying. Maybe, given the fact that the lead changed, you start that fourth quarter with your starters, you bring it back in. Maybe so. But I still believe that run started well before the bench came into the game. You know what I'm saying? Well before the bench came into the game, I believe that run started. The Knicks shot 47.6% from the field. The 76ers shot 43.8% from the field. The Knicks shot 52% from three. The 76ers shot 40.6% from three. The Knicks actually made their free throws, but they only shot 15 free throws. They were 11 for 15 on the free throw line for 73.3%. The 76ers were 18 for 26. They only made 69% of their free throws, but they shot 26 of them. Those are the numbers on the night, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. Listen, I'll say this. If you looked at my game preview, I wasn't expecting the Knicks to win. Obviously, when you get up 17 points, that changes your expectations. What I wanted to see was a valiant effort. I wanted to see them come out and play well. I feel like they played well. Did they make mistakes? Yes, they made plenty of mistakes. And guess what? Basketball is a game of mistakes. You're going to make, let's put it like this. I tell my players this all the time. Because players get down on themselves, especially young players, they get down on themselves when they make mistakes in the game, right? They miss a couple of shots, they have a couple of turnovers, miss a couple of defensive assignments, they start to hang their head. And I'm not saying that players in the NBA do this, maybe some do, but what I'm saying is basketball is a game of mistakes. So we're not going to play a perfect game, ever. All right? A perfect game is a game that includes mistakes, okay? If you shoot 48% from the field, that's good. The Knicks shot 47% from the field, and that's good. That's making less than 50% of your shots. Think about that. You shoot 47% from the field, that's good, but that's making less than 50% of your shots. Basketball is a game of mistakes. The team that makes less mistakes usually wins the game. So you're going to make plenty of mistakes. Plenty of mistakes every single game. I don't get mad at the mistakes. I get mad when teams don't play hard, when teams don't show basketball principles on the floor. I feel like the Knicks showed some basketball principles. There's things that they got to do to be able to put together a complete game. For example, we came down the floor twice. Threw an alley-oop to Mitch. They couldn't stop it. We got 2 dunks in a row off of alley-oops to Mitch. Then we go away from it. Why? Don't go away from something that works until the other team stops it. Things like that. Some small decisions that we got to make better decisions on the floor. I'm not entirely upset at the game, though. What I want to see the Knicks do is play well against a good team, and they did that. They played well against a good team. They had a chance to win against a good team. I wish that they would have pulled it out. I wish that they would have won, but I'm encouraged. I feel like we can beat San Antonio. I feel like we can beat Brooklyn. We haven't won 2 games in a row yet. I feel like we can win the next 2 games. I really do. I really feel like we can win the next 2 games from the things that I'm seeing. We got to be focused. I'm coming to you, Isaiah. I'm coming. We got to be focused. We got to have our mind straight. We can't fall and feel like, and get frustrated because of the losses. And if we can put some things together, man, we can beat San Antonio. They're not as good as they used to be, and we can beat Brooklyn. Put together a 2-game win streak. I think we can. Isaiah, I'm coming to you now, man.
Hey,
go ahead, Isaiah. What's going on, man? You were at the game tonight, right?
Yeah, Sam. I gotta say about the game, man. A lot to say. I gotta say about the game.
All right, go ahead, man. Knock it out.
First and foremost, I'll be real with you, man. I was very frustrated with the game because, when we were up 17. And I'll be real, and I'm not saying maybe we saw two different things, Sim, but I seen when the starters were in and Frank was in that the Knicks were up by 15. But then when the fifth guys, that's when we started giving up the lead. Maybe I don't know. I saw something different.
Go back and watch the game. Go back and watch the game. That momentum started to shift before the subs came in. Before the subs came in, that momentum started to shift, man.
Because the putback, the whole arena was quiet. You can hear me yelling. The arena was quiet and that's when we were up. But maybe I don't know. I gotta take a look back at the game because I was there. But I'm gonna be real with you, Sam. I've lost a lot of faith in Fizdale. Like I'm talking to other Knicks fans at the game, and we all were just talking and we were just agreeing that man, we didn't understand the rotation, the substitutions.
Okay, so tell me which one. Tell me which ones you didn't understand tonight, because he must have did something right to build a 17-point lead, right?
Well, yes,
every game there's going to be substitutions. Every game your substitutes they got to come in and perform, man. They got to perform. Hold up. I have been on Coach Fizdale's tail. Okay? I've been getting on Coach Fizdale. I have. For a lot of stuff. But he had to have done something right for the team to build a 17-point lead. When you bring in your subs, those players got to perform. They got to perform. You know what I'm saying? Because Frank played 32 minutes. There's 48 minutes for that point guard spot. 48 minutes. He played 32 of them. Dennis Smith Jr. played 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Right? He brought Dennis Smith Jr. He took Dennis Smith Jr. out the game with about 9 minutes left in that fourth quarter because he didn't like what he was doing. Right? I can't just put and blame everything on Fizdale for this game. Really, I can't. I don't think anybody can. Players got to perform too. They got to perform too. You know what I'm saying? And I don't feel like, when you bring the subs in, you have we're supposed to be a deep team. Isn't that what everybody said? We're a deep team. We got one of the deepest teams in the league. Right? You got Dennis Smith Jr. supposedly coming off the bench. And I'm not getting on Dennis Smith Jr. right now. But what I'm saying is, these guys got to perform and be able to do it when they get in the game. Because you're not going to have every player playing 48 minutes a game. Can there be some, could there be some, maybe some things done better? Of course. Right? But I'm not going to take and put this straight on Fizdale's shoulders because I don't care. I don't care. You build a 17-point lead. Players can hold a 17-point lead. Without the coach there, players can hold a 17-point lead. They should be able to. Players got to perform too. As a coach, when I make mistakes, like we had our first game yesterday, we lost the game. And while, yes, players made a lot of mistakes, they're young players, they make a lot of mistakes. They made a lot of mistakes. The one thing we did tell the players is some of this was coaching too, because we got to figure out where to put some of you guys in certain spots because we got a bunch of new players. We got like 5 or 6 new players. We got to figure some things out. We haven't figured it out yet. Right? So we need to know what you guys can do. We got to come up with some better schemes to make sure that you guys are in the best positions possible. Right? So it's not just the players, it's not just the coaches. You know what I'm saying? This is a night. And there are nights when it's mainly the coach. There are nights when it's mainly the players. I feel like tonight was mainly the players because there were situations that they were in where if they made a better decision on the floor, the players I'm talking about, this game could be different. This game could be different. You know what I'm saying?
I finished.
Go ahead, Isaiah. Finish saying what you were saying. I had to cut you off because I'm just not feeling just riding down on Fizdale on this one.
But this is what I've seen in the game with my own eye. Frank, to me, my opinion, if you talked about it before, how you let RJ Barrett play 40 minutes sometimes. Frank should have played 40 minutes tonight. That's my personal opinion. He should have played 40 minutes. Also, what I seen down the stretch, and this is what really took me out, is when Marcus Morris just like literally lost us the game. Marcus Morris down the stretch lost us the game with his selfish play, and that really pissed me off. He had R.J. Barrett in the corner by himself, did not give him the ball. And whatever that 2-on-3 was, that shifted that could have been up by 1, but instead of being up by 1 and B shot a 3 or whatever that was, whoever shot that 3, that was a 3-point swing. And I didn't understand Marcus Morris down the stretch. He really confused me. Julius Randle confused me. It was so frustrating being there, Sim, when you have the whole building quiet when the Knicks playing good, and then when the Sixers came back, and then you have Julius Randle and Marcus Morris really playing iso ball. Like, it's crazy. It's so frustrating seeing it in person of how selfish they play down the stretch, and it's like Fizz don't got. I mean, it's not all offensive, but the players have to say something to these guys. Because it doesn't make sense how selfish they can play down the stretch when they were playing so good during the game. I'm at the game looking at them play good, playing team basketball, moving the ball. But then down the stretch, these two just go crazy and just want to play. I understand Marcus Morris is from Philly. He wants to play good in front of him. But he's hurting the team with his selfishness. And it was really freaking frustrating down the stretch to see him do that. When we could have won the game, but I'm literally seeing plays of him being so selfish, it's ruining the team chemistry. We're not scoring down the stretch. We're literally him just moving so I've seen him bring the ball up the court during the stretch and just shoot the ball by himself. And I'm just really looking at him. I'm just amazed by R.J. Barrett being open, Frank being open. He's not giving him the ball. You got Julius Randle getting double teamed, the double team down the stretch, and he's throwing the ball away. It's crazy seeing this. It's just sickening.
Well, I get it. But those are player mistakes. You started off your conversation, really getting on Fizdale. Now you switched it to the players. Those are player mistakes. Those are player mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Mark, I'm coming to you, Mark. I'm coming to you. Go ahead, Mark.
So I had a great day today, and I'm happy about what I've seen in the game. But I also got into this little depression mode because, bro, this Fizdale scapegoat thing. Listen, y'all gotta stop, because it's getting annoying now, because it's like, okay, you fire him and you bring another coach. It ain't gonna change the difference when you having your vets hurt the young guys by going rogue. That's what I saw in the fourth quarter. Those two went rogue. I seen egregious play with RJ clapped for 4 seconds. 4 seconds clapping, yelling at Randle. Randle waved him off. He waved him off. And when people talking about, it started in the beginning of the third quarter. Because y'all seen Ben Simmons, he bust up the Knicks sets. He went over on the screens. Knicks couldn't run the pick and roll the way they was running it. Ben Simmons controlled that third quarter going to the fourth. And then Mike Scott, the Knick killer, because if you go watch any game Mike Scott play the Knicks, he killed the Knicks. He was 0 for something in the first half. And guess what he shot? 4 threes. 4 threes in the next half. And number 2, Sam, our bench, bro. Like when people go at Fizz saying, Fizz, don't tell him this and that. Yo, bro, when you looked at that second unit, they was lazy, bro. They was lazy. They didn't keep that same momentum that the starters had. And people talking about players have to sit. You know that, right? Do you know that Taj is not a guy that could play 38 minutes anymore? Do y'all know that, right?
He could have played more than 13, though. But he could have played more than 13. He could have played more than 13 minutes.
He played 13 minutes?
He only played 13 minutes. He could have played more than 13 minutes. Coach Fizz could have kept him in for more than 13 minutes. But that's one area where I'm going to say I don't believe Coach made the right decision. Taj could have played more than 13 minutes tonight and should have. He had 11 points in 13 minutes. At the end,
it was more about scoring, too.
I get
that's
that.
Another thing that the Knicks lack, too. Because people think that the Knicks could just sub in this player. bro, we are offensively challenged.
Yeah,
guys.
but Taj was scoring tonight. Like I said, he had like 11 points.
No, Taj did
11 points. He was scoring tonight.
But when you think about
Taj should have been in.
When you think about it, Sim, when Mitch came in, he did what was necessary to have us closing with 2. But when the last few minutes, I gotta say the refs went rogue too.
Right, but look, that right there, that to me was on Fizz, right? Because Mitch wasn't scoring. He had those 2 alley-oops. We didn't go back to it. Mitch wasn't scoring, but Taj was scoring tonight, and he was playing good defense too. You know what I'm saying? I think Taj should have been in the game.
But hold on. Did you see Philly defense? Because everybody's just like counting that out. Like, did you see?
No, listen. Philadelphia is a good team. I never seen a 17-point lead go away so fast in my life. We were up 17, 2-3 minutes later, the game was a 5-point game. I was like, what the heck? I mean, listen, they're good.
That's where we lost it. That's where we lost the game. Right there, the last minute in the third quarter. The last minute in the third quarter when they came back. That's when we lost because Philly had got the momentum. And their defense just went into hyperbolic mode.
They did. Yeah.
They just went into hyperbolic mode. The Knicks can't. Let me tell you something. The Knicks aren't that offensively good to score on defense like that. You got to understand that. We don't have offensive players that can score on good defense like that. You got to have guys that can offset that. We don't have that. We just don't have that.
But I still feel like Taj.
Third quarter. And shout out to Frank for just.
But listen, Taj. See, Taj is like Taj is that kind of. Oh, but Taj is that kind of guy. Taj is that kind of guy that can really, like, look, you know, his voice, his presence on the floor is able to calm a team down, bring a team together. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, and Mark is going on. I don't know what Mark is saying right now, but I wanted to get my point out about Taj Gibson being on the floor. So I'm going to come back to Mark, and I'm going to have him repeat everything that he just said, because I know Mark didn't hear what I was trying to say. So I'm going to have him come back and repeat everything that he just said, about Frank Ntilikina, because I do want to get into Frank Ntilikina and his development, because Frank Ntilikina is clearly developing into a very good point guard. Well, let me not say very good. Let me not jump off the roof just yet. But Frank is definitely developing it, and he's setting himself up so that Coach Fizdale is very hard to take Frank off the floor. You know what I'm saying? Mark. You have to be smart on the floor. Mark. Smart on the floor. Mark can't even hear me. Mark is in his own world. He can't hear what I'm saying. I'm trying to ask Mark a question. He can't even hear what I'm saying. Because he's in his own world. Excuse me for coughing, ladies and gentlemen. So, while Mark is going ahead and rolling in his own world, all right, I want to listen to Coach Fizdale. As Mark brought up Frank Ntilikina, I want to listen to Coach Fizdale reap some praises on Frank Ntilikina, and hopefully you guys can hear this. All right, this is Coach Fizdale on Frank Ntilikina and how he is developing as a point guard. I'm gonna put my cell phone up to the mic so you guys can hear this. Let's go.
But what do you see from Frank just game to game? He's getting better and better and better and more confident. And, like I said, we've gone through so much noise, he and I together. And I'm just so proud of him with the way he's handled everything. And now how he's just, he's not even thinking about it. I think you can see he's just out there playing and having fun. And all the team, we all have a lot of confidence in him.
Yeah, Frank Ntilikina, ladies and gentlemen, he's definitely becoming a guy that is very hard for Fizdale to take him off the floor. You can see his confidence coming. I was looking at one shot that Frank Ntilikina pulled up tonight, and when he pulled it up, you could see that he didn't care if obviously he wanted to make the shot, but he wasn't afraid to miss the shot. He just pulled it up with confidence because he knew. He knows now, like he has settled in as being the starting point guard Frank Ntilikina has. He's no longer looking over his shoulder, and you can see it in his play. He's getting more and more confident. People say, you don't get 17 points from Frank Ntilikina every night. And we may not get it every night, but I think we're going to start seeing play like this from Frank Ntilikina more often because he's confident. He's feeling it. You know what I'm saying? And he's understanding the NBA. That's what he told Coach when he went into the office a few weeks ago. He said, Coach, I understand what it takes to play in the NBA now. That's what he said. I understand. He said, I understand what it takes to play in the NBA. I haven't showed it, but I'm a dog too. That's what Frank told Coach Fizdale. And I think Frank is getting it. He's definitely getting it. Big shout out to Frank Ntilikina, man. I love what I'm seeing from Frank Ntilikina. And listen, Frank himself, people asked him, of course, just like everyone is complaining that Frank Ntilikina was taking out the game and the substitutes came in and all that kind of stuff. Frank out it about taking out the game. And he said, I'm a little bit tired. Right? And so I want to say to Isaiah and to Nate and to everybody else, who says, well, RJ Barrett can play 37 minutes. Why can't Frank? Listen, Frank is an aggressive type player. He plays with a lot of energy on the floor. He plays with a lot of defense. When you have a player like that, you got to give him some breaks. When you have a player that plays with that type of energy, right, that type of aggressiveness on defense, you got to give them a break and let their body recover and then put them back in the game. You got to. I know. Listen, when you got someone like that, you would really want to play them. You do. You want to play them 48 minutes because other people don't bring that type of defense, but they get tired. Why? Because they're human beings. They're not machines, ladies and gentlemen. They're human beings. They're human beings. Frank played 32 minutes. Still a good amount of minutes. I mean, I get the frustration and all of that. I understand it. I understand all of that. And I get it. Gammo, I'm gonna come back to you, bro. What's going on, man?
Yo.
I don't know, man.
I heard
Listen,
I heard Mark's rant.
Yeah. Listen. I mean, I didn't get all of Mark's rant because I was trying to get a word in, but I don't think Mark could hear what I was saying. I don't know if it was the technical issues, or if it was just Mark going off, so he couldn't hear what I was saying. But we're talking about Frank Ntilikina, man, and Frank is really becoming a staple, and I'm so glad that Coach Fizdale and the rest of the coaching staff, the Knicks as a whole, are recognizing the value of Frank. Because it hasn't always been that they've recognized the value of this kid. But now they're truly recognizing his value to this team. You know what I mean? And he's producing. Maybe not always offensively, but he's producing, at least defensively. You know what I'm saying? Do you think? Yeah. Are you looking at Frank and saying, yeah, from what I'm seeing right now, Frank is definitely our point guard of the future? Are you looking at that right now, saying that?
The way I would play the game, which would be, I need a defensive player, and look, Frank is a guy who could play off guard, and when guys like Morris go on to other teams, you could play RJ, even at the 3. Do I see Fizdale keeping him on? No, because Fizdale wants that. He wants the Cole Anthony type of point guard. He wants that De'Aaron Fox guy who could beat you to the basket, who's looking to score. His first option is to look to score, beat his man to the basket, dribble, drive, pass out to the perimeter, use his athleticism to draw the double teams in the paint, stuff like that. Because if that was the case, if Frank was the point guard of the future in their eyes, I think this offense would look a lot different. In terms, there'd be a lot more off ball on both sides of the ball. It wouldn't just be one side dribble handoffs and then beat your man ISO and then pass it out the double team, or if the defense collapses on you. You do things to get Frank open or to get Frank more opportunities. Now, I'll say this about Frank. I'll say Frank is improving more so in what Fizzo wants him to do because he's taking guys one-on-one now. He's shooting off the dribble. He's shooting with confidence. He has a little step back, little, not like a floating fadeaway. It's like that little, he gets to the paint and kind of like, fakes it and fades away. That little nice little shot. Can I see him as a few? I wanted to because look, Sim, we've seen tonight. Look, the Knicks don't have a finisher. We don't have a closer, right? This team, our success is going to be predicated on defense. When we're getting at these teams, it's not us, coming down shooting threes and they're only hitting twos and they miss a few shots here and there, even if we're not playing. No, every time we make these runs, we're active on the boards. We're getting steals. We're getting interceptions in the passing lane. You know what I mean? Like, I want him to be the point guard of the future because I see the value in him. And we're not even running the system that best suits him. And he's still steadily improving. Now, he's going to still need more confidence because even tonight, when he made that little step back three, Walt got on him the first time because he passed it out. And then I think it's to Morris. I can't remember who. And Morris passed back out to him. They dribbled and went back to three and shot and made it. But it's like that initial shot when you're at the two wide open, you got to shoot that. But yeah, it's slowly coming.
But you know what? But you know what? I had a problem with Walt Clyde Frazier on that one, right? Because if that was, I did have a problem and I didn't have a problem, all in the same vein, right? I did and I didn't. Because if that was Chris Paul who didn't take that shot, nobody would say anything about it. Nobody would care.
Only thing I'll say, Sim, though, know that with Chris Paul, and he's probably one of the smartest point guards of all time, he's thinking of something. So it's not, Chris Paul's not taking it because of a lack of confidence. He's probably not taking it because maybe his shot's not falling or he sees something. Like Chris Paul's the type of guy, he'll see something and try to force the issue, get that pass or get it to the, a disadvantage or, an advantage, a mismatch, someone else, or maybe sees somebody about to, Chris Paul's smart like that. Frank is not doing that because, again, he hesitates. Now, has his confidence increased? Yes,
but what I'm saying is, if Chris Paul did the exact same play, nobody would say anything because he gets the respect as somebody who's thinking of something. And maybe in a year or two, we'll realize, oh, well, maybe Frank is thinking of something. Maybe Frank has some things in mind. It didn't work out at that moment, so then he did something else. He's not getting that kind of respect yet because he hasn't proven himself to be that type of a point guard. But, Frank has, in the past, Frank has been showing over the past few games he's not hesitating on taking shots. Obviously, the play after that, he stepped back and knocked down the three.
Right. But the thing about it, Sim, is that we've seen Frank not take those shots because of a lack of confidence. So I think Walt Clyde Frazier sees a precedent there and he sees hesitation there versus if it's Chris Paul, the guy's been playing in the league for so long and he's a fearless player and you've seen it that it's like, all right, that he's not taking the shot because he doesn't think he can make it as he's scared. But with Frank, and I don't blame him too much. Look, we still got to be patient with the kid. And also, the thing about it is that we're not playing the offense that we've seen him excel in, partially with Hornacek in that first year, where it was more off-ball pick and pop, pick and roll with KP, or even with France. This offense is literally maybe one or two guys set picks for each other and move, and there's some motion. And then other than that, you go ISO. So we just have to be patient. The fact that, one, Frank is still 20, right? And Frank is he's still trying to play at, for lack of a better terms, he's trying to play an Americanized game where it's ISO, beat your man. And that's not his game. He doesn't have that athleticism. He doesn't have the mindset, but he's slowly trying to acclimate to that. And I remember at the beginning of the season, I said, Sim, Frank and Fizzo, they got to meet each other halfway in terms of, hey, I'm going to do things to get you in better position to succeed. And then Frank, you got to come halfway and do things I want you to do. And I think that Frank is more so coming towards what Fizzo wants more than what Fizzo wants. Fizzo more than what Frank would want Fizzo to do for him because we don't really play off ball. I'm telling you, if there's more off ball, I've seen it where, like you showed that video last year where Frank, it was a play where Frank had that pass to Hazonia, and even though Hazonia missed a shot, there was so much off ball movement in that one play. Frank was quick and decisive with it. It's like he thought about it before in terms of he knew where the ball was supposed to go. He was like a top-notch quarterback where it's like, I know where the ball's supposed to go. You just got to be there. And he passed it to Hazonia. Hazonia missed a shot, but it was a good play. But we don't run that really, Sim, with this team. Only we run the pass reversals, like Aziz says pointed out, when we run the pass reversals, and maybe you see one guy, you see a Dotson get open off the perimeter, or you see a Knox get open. That's the only guys really moving off ball. So to me, I'm happy with where Ntilikina's going, but I just don't see this team. If it's going to stay with the same regime with Fizzo, it's not going. I don't think they're going to keep him as the main point guard of the future.
I don't know, man. I don't know, because I think he's beginning to find, find his crevices within what they're trying to do. I think he's starting to find little spots where he knows he can get his shots. He's not going to be the kind of guy that forces shots. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's gonna take shots that are there for him, take shots that are open. I'm not gonna say never. He's not the kind of guy right now that is gonna be out there, breaking down defenses with his dribble and create shots. Maybe in a year or two, though, because I see instances here and there where he can do it. Like when the shot clock is running down and he has the ball and he has to just do something, I've seen instances where he can break the defense down and get inside. That's not his natural inclination yet. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it will one day. Maybe as he learns the game and he gets more confident, and he continues to find ways that he can fit in offensively. For the remainder of this year, I think that he's going to be the starter for the remainder of this year, even when Elfrid Payton comes back. I don't know what's going to happen with Dennis Smith Jr. I know people. People are still saying that. Dennis Smith Jr. is David Fizdale's guy. I'm not so sure. There's a clear difference in the way the team looks when Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank Ntilikina is on the floor. So I'm not so sure. If Dennis Smith Jr. was Fizdale's guy, there wouldn't have been a discrepancy of his guy where he's like, I'm going to make sure Dennis Smith Jr. is getting his. There wouldn't have been a discrepancy of 32 minutes for Frank and 15 minutes for Dennis Smith Jr., right? So when Elfrid Payton comes back.
Sim, can I say this real quick about that? I still think that he wants. Now, I got to say two things. Dennis Smith Jr. does not look healthy. His explosion's not there. He looks a little fatter. I also think Mitch is still hurt too, because he couldn't go after Reed. Like, he just looked off. But with Dennis Smith Jr., I'll just say this, right? I think he's slowly trying to bring him on, and I think they run more direct plays for Dennis Smith Jr., right? Whenever Dennis Smith Jr., he always try to make sure that Mitch is in there so he can run a pick and roll, and then that Dennis Smith Jr. is able to penetrate into the basket off the pick and roll and get into the paint. And we've seen Dennis Smith Jr. where he's able to get into the paint and make those little shots or whatever, and that's his game right now. He's not really going to hit shots like, he's been hitting a few threes here and there. So I think that Fizzo's playing out. Look, Frank is giving me the best value at the point guard position right now, so I can't take him out. I need his defense. He's the only thing that's really keeping us in the game. But if Dennis Smith Jr. can slowly get healthy, slowly recover from his stepmom's, passing away, for what we have right now, look, is he going to annoy him as a starting point guard? No. But Dennis Smith Jr., in terms of offensively, he basically represents what Fizzo wants. And, for these past few games, he's been doing okay offensively. It's just that Frank is just better overall. But, it is what it is. I think Fizzo honestly is just looking towards the draft. He's going to look for a Cole Anthony type, one of these, active athletic point guards. But, for what we have right now, I think that he's going to find value. He's going to find ways to get Dennis Smith Jr. going, because they don't really run for plays for Frank like that. Every time you see Frank scoring, it's not a set play for Frank. But every time you see DSJ scoring, for the most part, it's really called on plays for DSJ. That pick and roll, you know what I mean? So
but I think that, because Frank. You're not going to call plays for Frank. I don't think you're going to call plays for Frank, because he's not a creator that way. You know what I mean? Frank is going to be more of a guy that's going to get, when you get an open shot or, off of. But Frank does get those elbow jumpers off of screener rolls. Where he knocks down those elbow jumpers. He gets those off the screen of rolls. They may not be.
He does, but Sim, but watch those plays though. Every time he makes those plays, two other guys basically cheat off the guy that's setting the pick. Because usually, say Morris or Taj or even Mitch, because they're trying to force Frank to hit those shots. You know what I mean? Right. And it's not just calling plays for shooting, right? They don't call plays to show Frank's strength, which is, yes, the pick and roll, but also more off ball where guys are coming around and Frank can make that proper pass. Because I've seen it with DSJ. I've seen it where DSJ has to make that tight pass and he just hesitates. He just mentally he's not there yet, especially this year. I've seen it sometimes last year. But with Frank, they really don't call enough off ball to really showcase his passing. Now, if you watch the first year with Hornacek or the first half with Hornacek, Frank was eating off that off ball movement, like him and KP. And then you have a guy, I don't think he was there with Novak, I can't remember, but you had who's the other 3-point shooter they had? Was it Sean? Not Sean Williams. I'm drawing a blank now. But they had guys where they're literally coming off. So it was basically KP and another guy to basically flank Frank, where it's like, all right, I got the pick and roll, pick and pop, and then I got another guy coming around. And Frank was basically driving in, boom, 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 make it collapse, get the guy on his hip, pass it to KP, pass the guy on the perimeter, and that showcases value. So Frank was getting the assists or the hockey passes, which showed, oh, this guy can facilitate an offense if you have more off ball, even, and he could be effective even if he's not scoring. But Fizzo doesn't run like that. But Fizzo really doesn't run off ball, period. So I don't know. I really don't know what to say about it.
You know, I'm just saying, I'm afraid when Elfrid Payton comes back, you know, where Dennis Smith Jr. is going to end up in the depth chart on this team. You know that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up on the depth chart. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to make an announcement real quick. And thank you for being here with me. I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I go live, drop a video, or post in my community section. If you're on Sportscaster, make sure you follow me on Sportscaster. Sorry tonight we're not able to bring up highlights and have many interviews and stuff like that because I'm dealing with slower internet tonight. You know, I had some issues outside of my house where they're putting in new lines. I don't know what kind of lines. I guess new electric lines under the ground where I live. We don't have telephone poles with electric lines that go above ground. All of our electrical lines are below ground. So I guess they're putting in some new lines below the ground. So they're digging up my yard. They're digging up the neighbor's yard. They're doing all this stuff around the house, putting new lines, and they cut my internet line. So I was at home doing work today, and I'm, uploading some stuff for a client. And I'm like, what's up? Well, why is my internet not working? Right. And so I call up Verizon and then, find out that, the line has been cut and they're coming out tomorrow to fix it. So I'm operating off of a hotspot, which is doing okay, but, it could be doing better. Well, it could be better, obviously, if I had the faster internet. So we're doing what we can do the way that we can do it. All right. So subscribe to the channel anyway. And I do want to make an announcement for all of my Knicks fans out there and Rangers fans. If you're looking to get into show business, there's an opportunity for you right now. If you like the Knicks and you like the Rangers, and you are a hardcore fan, excuse me, of the Knicks and the Rangers, I want you to pay attention to this ad that I'm about to bring across the screen. Okay? Right now, Palladino Casting has partnered with Pepsi, excuse me, and MSG Network to find a host to represent the fans. And that person would be called a chief fan officer. I'm sorry for coughing all in the microphone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also sick, by the way. All right. So, if you have extensive knowledge of the Knicks and the Rangers, and you know the history of players and you know the game, apply to be the chief fan officer. Palladino Casting reached out to me. I don't have extensive knowledge of the Rangers. They need one person who has extensive knowledge of the Knicks and the Rangers. So if you are that person, reach out to me, and I'll hook you up with Palladino so that you can audition. All right, and I'm probably not doing a good ad for them right now because I'm coughing all over the microphone. But my throat is tickling because I got this flu or cold or whatever's going on with me right now. So I'm going to say one more time. Palladino Casting is connecting with Pepsi and MSG to find a host to represent Knicks and Rangers fans. That host would be called a chief fan officer. Right? If you have extensive knowledge of the Knicks and the Rangers, and you know the history of players, the history of the team, You know the game. Apply. Okay? And how do you apply? Reach out to me. I'll get you in contact with Palladino Casting, and then you can put your hat in the ring. And maybe you can become the chief fan officer. All right? So all you got to do is hit me up, srussell@nothingbutnicks.com, and I'll make sure I get you in touch with who you need to get in touch with. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you do that. Again, I apologize for coughing all over the microphone. For whatever reason, during that time, and I'm going to do that ad again, my throat kept itching because I got this cold. And it's killing me right now. All right? Killing me. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have San Antonio. I think we can go on a 2-game win streak. I think we can beat San Antonio, and then I think we can beat Brooklyn. I want to know what you guys think about. Guillermo, can we beat San Antonio or can we beat Brooklyn?
San Antonio's not doing too well, right? They're like, let me see. I think they're under 500 right now. Last time I checked, they're like, yeah, they're 5-10. So, and they just lost to the Wizards. So, you know what I mean? Last time it was like that boy, Dejounte Murray, who killed us with his speed. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't get back. I don't remember how well he shot, but I know he was killing us off the fast breaks. We could beat them. Look, the Spurs right now, Popovich, he might be on his last legs. Still a great coach. Not taking that away from him, but, I mean, they lost to the Wizards. Even though Roy Hachimura is good, don't get me wrong. That boy could play, but, I mean, they lost to the Wizards. So, and Roy only had 15 tonight. Bradley Beal had 33. So, and then Davis Bertans had 21. Ish Smith had 21. So that sounds like there's some defensive breakdowns because Ish Smith is not a good shooter. So they're probably just playing him straight up normally. He was just being guys at basket, facilitating. Really have forces. But, I mean, yeah, we could beat them, man, because last game we had them. Like, right now they're kind of at, there's a dearth of talent. LaMarcus Aldridge is still solid, but he only had 12 points. DeRozan had 31 points. I think he killed us at the end of the game, right? Like in the fourth quarter, he kind of came alive, if I remember. So right now, I mean, I don't have a great scout, but I just remember that Dejounte Murray killed us, like with his speed, and that goes to awareness. You got to know who their players are. You got to know their scouting. You know what I mean? You got to play close on a kid, man. You can't let him beat you up off the dribble. Play him back, force him to shoot, force him to become a perimeter player. You know what I mean? And it has to be throughout the game, man, because it's deflating. You know what I mean? And like I said, I think there's going to be a blow up with Randall and somebody because, outside of that little hustle play he had with the inbounds play where he stole the ball and got the foul, Randall is just he's such a drag, dude. But then he wants the ball on offense so much, and it's like, if I was a player, I'd be like, no. Until you show me on defense, I'm not passing you the ball so you can do ISO, man. Go and get the ball, be in the proper spots. I might get you the ball. So, this, again, with the Spurs, you got to be disciplined. You got to be smart because Popovich, as much as this team is suffering right now, 5-10, Popovich is a top-notch coach. He's going to know what your weaknesses are. He's going to attack that. You know what I mean? So, you just got to be smart, man. I think we can beat them. Look, Rudy Gay is not a good shooter, but he kind of hit a few shots or a few plays in this last game. Yeah, I'm not scared of the Spurs, man. Just
me either.
You gotta play discipline. You gotta play with the right fundamentals, man. If you're playing with a guy like I remember last year, 2 years ago, when Popovich was getting mad at Marcus Aldridge because he was shooting too much from perimeter, he wasn't taking it down low. A guy like Mitchell Robinson, if the guy is shooting, 2 for 6 or 2 for 7 or something like that, 2 for 8 from the perimeter, and his shots aren't falling, Mitch Robinson, don't go out and run out to him and allow him to drive to the back. Play back. You know what I mean? He did that tonight against Embiid, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Situational awareness, situational basketball. That's the type of stuff that gets teams with lesser talent, that gets them wins. You know what I mean? Popovich has been doing that for years, even before Kawhi, when he's going through little lull periods where he had those veterans and guys getting hurt. Situational basketball, that can get you a lot of wins. Trust me. Fizzo needs to preach that. And he also, accountability. How many streams, Sim, do we talk about, these guys playing hero ball? Okay, they're playing hero ball. Take them out the damn game. Fizzo, what is Morris going to do or Randall going to do? They're going to hit you? No, take them out the game. You're still a coach. It don't matter how old you are. You can still learn from the game, man. Morris knows what he's doing.
And it's a little bit too much, dude. You're doing a little bit too hero ball. When you're hot, I give you the ball all the time, bro. When you're not hot, dude, and you have a 3-on-1 fast break, or you have that ugly turnaround, or what the hell? I don't know what the hell it was. Where I think we're done like 5 or something. Shoots that awful shot off balance. It's like, dude, you're taking us out the game. And like I think it was Andrew, the other Evergreen said, you're showing a bad example to the young guys. Now they're going to pick up your bad habits and think they could do it because one, there's no accountability except for if it's Frank Ntilikina, and two, now it's like, all right, he's doing it. Let me get my own too. You know what I mean? So Fizzo needs to preach accountability. I disagree with Mark in terms of we get into no, because the thing about it is that yes, if your players are being stupid, you take them out. You know what I mean? So to me, man, be disciplined, play it smart, do the proper scouting reports on these guys. You know who the shooters are, you know who their gunners are, you know what Dejounte Murray has done to you in the past. Play smart, man. We can win this game. We had him last game.
Now I'll say this. I think from game to game, Coach Fizdale has done a good job of making adjustments from game to game. You know, as far as playing the same team, right? You know, we seen it. You know, we seen it with the Cavs. The Knicks played better. We seen it with Boston. The Knicks played better. We seen it with Dallas, where they won both games in Dallas. We'll see. You know, we play Philadelphia soon. I think next week. So we'll see if. I mean, we could have won this game. We were up 17. We'll see if those adjustments will be made, and then. Now we play San Antonio. What's today? We play San Antonio on Friday, and we'll see what adjustments can be made. Now the Knicks had a lead in the fourth quarter against San Antonio, so you know, we'll see. But I do believe that he's made good adjustments game to game when we've played the same team twice, and we'll see if we can make those adjustments again. But I think that listen. We're playing San Antonio. We're playing Brooklyn. We played those two teams the first 2 games of the season. I think we can beat both of them. I think we can put together our first 2-game win streak of the season. I really think we can. Nate, I don't know if Nate's there. He's not. I don't see his picture up there. I don't see his face up there. But Nate, are you there? Nah, he's not there. But I think we can beat him. Isaiah, I'm coming to you. San Antonio.
What's going on, Sam?
You're on the way back. You're on your way back to Connecticut from Philly, right? You driving?
Yeah.
Was it a long drive?
Oh no, the ride back wasn't bad. It was like 4 hours to get there. To get there from Connecticut, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
I was, but it's all cool. It was all love.
San Antonio. Talk to me about San Antonio. Can we beat San Antonio? I think we can beat San Antonio. I think we can get our first 2-game win streak. I think we can win our first, get our first back-to-back victories over the next 2 games.
Yeah. So Steph, I totally agree with you. There's no player in San Antonio that scares me. There's only one person in San Antonio that scares me. That's Greg Popovich. I don't care how bad the team is. That man still is a basketball genius. To me, he's the greatest coach of all time. So, about any player, I'm just worried about Greg Popovich's adjustments and knowledge of the game, and he's gonna have players set up to use us. But players like San Antonio, no. This crazy talk about what's his name? What's the guy name? The shooting guard. What's his name? DeMar DeRozan.
He's what about him?
Good. Starbridge is looking like he's getting older. The San Antonio Spurs are not the same San Antonio Spurs that we're all used to, and they're probably going to blow it up soon. They're probably going to start to rebuild. So I think this is a great opportunity. I was angry. I really was angry, but there was a lot of good signs out of this game today. Like if you minus the hero ball at the end, the Knicks did play a good game. All around. Besides Kevin Knox's horrible defense, which. Man, this kid, I don't care what next summer he does not need to do anything offensively. He just needs to work on defense. He doesn't even do anything offensively. He just needs to work on defense because watching that in person, Sim, is just like Sim, this dude did not know what he was doing. But anyways, we can beat San Antonio. If we play like we played with Philly, we can beat San Antonio. We just can't get what worries me, Sim, is that the Knicks think, man, we played really good at the Sixers. I think we're proud of it. We can't count as a moral victory. We got to count this as, we need to win. When we need to do what we got to do to win. And we got to play like we played for most of the Philly game, besides those little silly ISO hero balls. If we can minus the hero ball, Sam, I think we can.
Yeah, I don't think that the Knicks are looking and saying, oh, we played well against the 76ers and, we got it, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. I think this team understands what's expected of them and, they want to go out and win basketball games. I don't think they're taking moral victories with them. I really don't. Now, can they do it? That's one thing, but I don't think they're taking moral victories. I really don't. I don't think they're taking moral victories. I want to give a couple of shout outs for super chats. Uptown Swan, you said, thank you for the super chat, by the way. You said, here, get some cough drops, my guy. Feel better. Yes, I plan to. I'm actually getting better. You should have seen me yesterday. I was down and out yesterday. I still had the coach as well, but I was down and out. And at Gray House, thank you for the super chat. You said, get well soon. I hope so. Hopefully this thing breaks up. But when you spend a lot of time around kids, this is going to happen. You're going to get sick a lot. And I spent a lot of time around kids. I mean, elementary school kids, middle school kids, high school kids, junior high school kids. We have a gym full of kids that's there working on their basketball game. 30 kids every day working on their game. 40 kids every day working on their game. So when you're around a lot of kids, man, you're going to get sick. That's basically what it is. Right. But, I went into a coughing spell a little earlier. Now, hopefully the coughing spell is gone and I can make this announcement a little bit better. If you are a fan of the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers, and you have extensive knowledge of the team, players, the game, then this position just might be for you. All right, Pepsi and MSG Networks, they've come together and they're looking for a host to represent Knicks and Rangers fans as the chief fan officer. All right, so if you have this kind of knowledge of the Knicks and the Rangers, apply. Apply for this. All you got, just email me and I will give you the information so that you can put your bid in. They're looking for fans. They're looking for MCs, influencers, bloggers, vloggers, journalists. So if that's you and you're interested, you want to get into showbiz, here's your opportunity. Get into showbiz, man. The opportunity to do it. So I'm going to put this in my comments on YouTube as well, so you can have that chance, and I'll post it on Twitter and Instagram as well. All right, Palladino Casting. So make sure you put your name in the hat if you think this is you. All right, make sure you do it, and do it soon, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of people that's putting their name in the hat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm going to get up out of here so I can, get some medicine in me. I don't really take a lot of medicine. I try not to, but I got some work that I got to get done tonight, so I'm going to take some medicine. I try not to take medicine. I try to let whatever I have, whatever's going on, I try to let it run its course. And I keep going and I keep working, I keep moving, but I try to let it run, let it run its course. But I'll take some cough drops or something since I got the super chat for it. I appreciate you, and I'll, try to clear this up. But I will be on tomorrow, no matter what it is. If I, hopefully the internet is fixed by the time I get on tomorrow. If not, then we'll be doing it the same way. Right, but I'll be on tomorrow so we can do a game preview. The Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs. I think we can get 2 wins in a row. Looking forward to it. I want to see us do it. We didn't win. We had a 17-point lead, but I felt good about some of the things that I saw. Obviously, the players, made some bad decisions down the stretch of the game. Or, they could have did some things much better down the stretch of the game. But I'm starting to see better signs. that the team is still healthy. Internally, they're still healthy. They still believe. They still believe. I'm gonna still believe. You know what I mean? I can see the signs. I don't see the signs that they're giving up and that they're stopping. That they're ready to throw the season down the tubes. I believe that they believe. And if they can, it'd be nice if they can come out and they can get 2 wins. They still might just be 5-11, but they're keeping themselves afloat. And then throughout this stretch, we pick off a couple wins here, a couple wins there. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get up out of here, and during the end, as I float on off the screen, I'll bring this advertisement back up so you can look at it as I'm leaving. Okay, I am gonna catch you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna go get me some rest. I'm gonna go get some herbs in me. You know what I mean? Some healing herbs in me. Not the kind of herbs you guys probably thinking about, but some healing herbs. I'm going to try to get some of that in me. You know what I mean? And come back fresh tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I will catch you guys tomorrow. And be peaceful for the rest of the night, folks. I'm out of here. Peace.
Yo, Sim.